The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
Well, welcome everybody. We're excited that everybody is joining us here for our special edition of our Habits of Health Support webinar. We have everybody just filing in. We'd love for you to find the chat feature and say hello. Let us know where you're joining us from. And if you have celebrated National Optimal Health Day with a special activity, we'd love to hear what you did for your celebration and how you celebrated National Optimal Health Day. So go ahead and find the chat feature. We're going to use the Q&A feature for any questions that you may have. This will be a fast-paced webinar, so thanks everybody for chiming in. It's flowing nicely with all kinds of great information. Thanks everybody for commenting and throwing a chat message. For those of you that just joined us, we're peaking over 500 people. And we'd love for you to share with us how you celebrated the 5th annual National Optimal Health Day. Great. Thanks everybody for joining us. Well, I'm so excited that you're here today on this special occasion, this special 5th annual edition of National Optimal Health Day. I get to be your host today for our Habits of Health webinar. This special event is not just special because it's happening on this special National Optimal Health Day, but we also get the chance to do a live Q&A session with co-founder of Optavia, Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson. Many of you have seen him. He's trending on the internet all over the place, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. His quotes are being shared, his messages being proclaimed around the country and even to the world about this idea of discovering your optimal health. And so for those of you who are already familiar with him, we are excited that you're here to learn more to the answers or the questions that you may have about creating optimal health and well-being in your life. As you can see from the picture that's shown on the screen, my health was transformed and my life was transformed 8 years ago through Dr. Ray's leadership and Dr. Ray's program. And he awoke me to the idea of creating optimal health and well-being in my life. And for him, I'm ever thankful for transforming my life. And so it's such an honor and privilege to get a chance to lead this Q&A session. We've had a lot of great questions that have been submitted, and we're only going to have about 30 minutes to facilitate those questions. So we've really gone to the ones that were the most common and the most popular that we thought could be the most impactful. Many of you are familiar with Dr. Anderson's extensive medical career, 10th physician, board certified in critical care, valedictorian of his class, had 2 decades of serving in the hospital care before he left courageously to follow his dream and to follow his passion. And for that, over 1 million lives have been transformed. So it's our pleasure to be able to have Dr. Ray on our webinar tonight. Welcome to the webinar, Dr. Ray.
Thanks, David, and it's great to be here. I'm very excited tonight. Anytime I have an opportunity to reach out and pay it forward to all the people and to awaken people to the potential of what they can do for themselves and how they can help us on this big mission to change the world.
Well, Dr. Ray, you left traditional medicine to pursue a passion, and the passion started out with this idea of teaching people how to create health in their life and actually learning how to adopt the habits of health. And your best-selling books, Dr. Ray's Habits of Health, the companion guide, and then the New York Times bestseller, and then the trending social viral ebook, Stop, Challenge, and Choose, has really been impactful. And I love this quote from Buckminster Fuller that really is talking about the mindset that you had about transforming healthcare and actually teaching people to create health in their life. Would you share just a quick overview of what your mission was and what it is today as you continue on with this journey?
Yeah, that's great, David. And people say, they say, God, it was a great vision you had, but my vision for the future as it sits now is even bigger. There's really an opportunity at a time when the world is very dysfunctional. People are not healthy. They're not having a good time. And I look at it, the medical delivery system, when I left it in 2001, I was, as you mentioned, director of critical care. I helped pioneer that specialty, and I thought I was in the best service of man. But what I realized over time, we were putting Band-Aids on people, reacting to what was wrong, never really recreating what was right. And so I made a decision to move upstream and to really focus on helping people first understand and then have a blueprint and a path to change their life. And so, I love this quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. I love Bucky. Bucky was one of the transformational conscious leaders way ahead of his time and did the geodesic dome and just did so many things that are so innovative. And it's really looking at what do we really want? What do people really want? They don't want more medicines or more surgery. They literally want to be healthier. They want to thrive in their lives. And yet for many, they haven't been able to do that. So that's been the last 17 years is moving upstream and really focusing on that. And the books are designed to be awakening tools. The one, Discovery Optimal Health, is to awaken people to the possibility. And the Habits of Health and the Companion Guide are really a blueprint for people to move forward. And I'm excited, as you mentioned, the Stop, Challenge, and Choose is so many people are just reacting versus stopping and then challenging what's going on in their life and then choosing a different outcome. And we'll talk more about that later on the Discover Your Optimal Health call. But tonight for this call, Habits of Health obviously is something near and dear to me, and I want to make sure that we have an opportunity for our listeners and viewers to have some of those questions maybe that they've been puzzled about or didn't understand quite how to implement, to help them, give them the path. Because you see, knowledge by itself without execution really doesn't change anything. And transformation only occurs when we make sustainable changes in our habits. Where we are today is a result of our past and our present habits. And to change your habits is a big deal. In fact, most people don't do it. Only 93% of the people that make New Year's resolutions never actually change the thing that they resolve to change. So it's a big, heavy goal, but you're going to see tonight that so many people have changed so radically. And, this one kind of emphasizes, David, weight loss. But, weight loss is really just one of the byproducts. When people are overweight or obese, it's a result of the symptoms of the dysfunctional life they're in, whether it's stress or not sleeping well, not moving enough, not eating the right foods. All those things contribute. And what we want to do is we start with that creates the teachable moment. People start to feel better. And that's when we really roll up our sleeves and help people learn the habits of health.
Well, this is not really about reading books as much as it is about guiding people through the transformation process. And as we show a couple of the recent success stories of your program, it's just more of an awakening to know that there's so much more to health than just knowing what to do. And you have organized this process of a 4-part component program where you've got 4 different pillars that are really providing people the support to make those lifelong changes to become lifelong transformation. Talk a little bit more about the 4 components and why it's really the formula for success in your mind.
Well, it starts with the coach. The Optavia coach is a coach that most probably has been through the same struggles that most of us have been on, and now have become part of what we're doing, part of our community. And what they've learned is to take the other 3 pieces that you see there, basically the Habits Health system, the Optavia community, and the fuelings, and put those together and guide people to those. And so it's really great because when you have someone that really cares, and the key component of our coaches, and a thing we've taught for now over a decade, is empathy. It's really meeting people first where they are, not judging them, not trying to get them to do anything, not telling them, but actually awakening them, find out what's going on, and then helping move them forward to bring into their life what they really want. When someone's intrinsically motivated, David, as you know, and they have a coach to help them, it's great. The second part, obviously, we've been talking about, the Habits of Health is a blueprint. No matter where you are in your life, whether you're still an adolescent or you're 90 years old, we have people actually we have a couple 100-year-olds that are using the program. And the idea of the Habits Health system is to meet you where you are. For most people, 70% of us were overweight or obese to start with. So that's one of the key things. That, along with cessation of cigarette smoking, are the 2 things we can control that are the most important for changing the trajectory of your life. And so the Habits Health meets people where they are, helps, we'll talk about some of the components of it, but it helps them first reach a healthy weight, and then teaches them how to eat healthier, to move more, to sleep better, to handle stress, to have the proper support, and to put those things together. And that's what the community does. The underlying structure, one of the key things, and we'll show this a little later, but you are the combination of your 5 closest peers. And that's a result when you can bring people together. You're lowering the resistance when you're with like-minded people, and you don't have to kind of fight to work through where people want to get you like crabs in the pot, pull you down to go to the the fried food beer keg fest every weekend versus going out for a walk, taking the dog, maybe having great healthy foods and certainly cooking out and having a great time, but doing it with people that are all focused on the same goals. And then the feelings are great. That's one of the first things that attracted me to the parent enterprise that we support within our commercial application, which is Medifast, and they've been making meal replacements since 1980. We've now fully engineered those to modern day where they're best in class. They're effective at helping people reach a healthy weight, and then also have all the things that people want. They're looking for lack of artificial ingredients, GMO free. All those things are now part of those feelings. So, but together, David, that's the key part. Each one individually can have an impact, but together, all 4 dramatically increases your chances of having a lifelong transformation, which is what we want. Predictable transformation is what our offer is. If you actually subscribe and you're coachable and want to learn and grow and spend time, you're not going to be perfect. None of us are perfect. We're humans, but what we do together with these 4 pieces, it puts us in the best possible position to create long-term success. And that's what it's all about. Dieting doesn't work. 85% of people that go on a diet gain their weight back within 2 years. So we want much more than that. We want to help people, take them by the hand, and transform their lives.
Well, Dr. A, you've been pioneering this subspecialty of health and lifestyle coaching that's becoming so popular in today's time, and now it just continues to evolve to become even a bigger player in the marketplace. Talk a little bit more about the comprehensive lifestyle program that you developed to walk people through different steps depending on where they were at, but giving them a complete system for the rest of their life and to create lifelong transformation.
Well, and you're going to get to hear in the next section when we bring on some of our amazing transformational stories, the progression of people, and we picked 4 people that are through these 6 steps of now transform or in the process of transforming. Lifelong transformation actually means that we meet you where you are and we start moving you forward, but it's a lifelong process. We actually help people change their orientation. So preparing for their journey is really to connect people. We showed the 4 components. Those are key that people understand. They're going to need to utilize all 4 to be successful. But the first goal for most people is to reach a healthy weight. If I pick other than cigarette smoking, and actually they're very close between cigarette smoking and obesity, they're both very close in terms of their negative impact on our body and on our health, also the quality of our life and also our well-being. But reaching a healthy weight is one of our key parameters for most. Now, the cool thing is there's some people that, that for most that's where they need to lose some weight, but some don't, and that's what's neat. They can start right with step 3 and start learning the habits of health for long-term success. And then moving forward, we want people, we know that people are at their best. They have the highest sense of well-being and fulfillment when every day they're doing something that's moving them forward and improving their lives. Whether it's their interaction with people, healthy mind is such a key part of the habits of health. And actually, one of the things I'm doing right now is in the process of evolving. And you said it's more than knowledge, David. It's about a system of delivery where we actually help people decide what's important to them and actually implement that into their life in this progression. So, no one can predict how long you're going to live, but we know that if you improve your lifestyle, and a great study came out, by the way, just 2 months ago that showed on average that those that dramatically improved their lifestyle in the key areas had the potential to qualitatively live longer in a healthier state, up to 7 years in that study. And that study wasn't related to our program, but it certainly includes all the things that we do.
Well, Dr. A, by popular demand, we're going to go to this next topic, and we could probably spend a whole day talking about eating healthy to lose weight and maintain a healthy weight. But we thought it might be helpful for you just to go in and answer the question, about what is the most recommended strategy to eat healthy and lose weight and then to maintain that weight according to the science that you've researched?
Yeah, well, you know, one of the key things is when you're restricting long term, you're not going to be successful. Restriction. And so one of the things we found people, you know, if we go back 10,000 years ago, we have to go back to our design because, you know, our genetics have not changed but less than 0.05% over the last 10,000 years. So we were designed to graze all day long and to eat whenever we could find food. And we kind of, and a great way to look at that is just look at kids. You know, when you have little kids, man, they don't want to sit down and eat when you want to eat. They want to graze, and they don't eat as much, by the way, because they graze when they're hungry. They're putting energy in their body at a smaller, so it can be handled much more effectively by the body. And what we found, and one of the things we do starting off right away on with our new clients or patients when they start, is we have them eat every 3 hours, and we use the fuelings to start building in that rhythm so that we're actually feeding them throughout the day. And the other part, as you can see on this graph, that you know, macronutrient manipulation. Everybody's coming out with the latest book on low fat, low carb, Paleolithic. It goes on and on and on, and they're all macronutrient manipulation, which means they're changing the percentage of protein, carbohydrate, and fat. The reality is, you can go into any environments and eat a higher percentage of any of those and still be effectively healthy. It has to do with the quality and the quantity that you're eating. In fact, you know, one of the important things here is that most Americans eat a very high sugar and refined grain-based diet, flours. In fact, they're two of the highest addictive substances on the planet. And we eat them, it raises our blood sugar goes up, our insulin goes up. The insulin stays up, and 70 million Americans have what we call metabolic syndrome, and they are setting themselves up for diabetes, and for a whole bunch of other things that they don't want, including cardiovascular disease, stroke, heart attacks. So what we do is we actually go to eating every 3 hours. You can see on the right and see that we now dampen that glucose response, which is very important. In fact, in terms of longevity, some of the more recent studies show that control of your blood sugar, not allowing those big fluctuations, is an important part of decreasing inflammation, lowering your risk for things such as cancer, and clearly have the potential to live longer. Although we can't guarantee that, we know in general that research very profoundly says that eating every 3 hours, eating low glycemic, in other words, sugars that are what most people would think of as slow carbohydrates, not sugars, excuse me, carbohydrates, that they're more likely to maintain a healthier weight.
Well, Dr. A, the next question is, in terms of, you know, eating healthy, why are you a big proponent for using portion-controlled fuelings that are medically formulated or scientifically formulated to control the macronutrients in the nutrition versus just teaching people to eat right and exercise?
Yeah, one of the key things, David, is that in order to change our habits, one of the key parts is to make it simple enough we can do it every day. And the burden is for someone that's not a nutritionist. And by the way, I know a lot of overweight nutritionists as well. But the key thing for understanding nutrition and preparation, it takes a lot of time. You know, the calorie counting, all this focus and emphasis on calories in, calories out, you know, how much sugar, how much carbohydrate, all those things are difficult to learn right out of the gate. And so if people try to take on all that knowledge and trying to prepare and have the time, we live in a very chaotic world, the time to do all that, it's very difficult. Now, in the book, we talk about that. If you want to do it on your own, we have a formula in the Habits Health that allows you to do it without the fuelings. But what I've found, and including for myself with the chaotic lifestyle, that by starting out having the same nutritional footprint, having these very healthy foods that, yes, we make those foods the way they are, but they're low glycemic, they're balanced protein and carbohydrate. They have 24 vitamins and minerals. They are now absence of colors and flavors and sweeteners in our Optavia line of products, which is so great. It makes it so easy. And together, the nutritional footprint allows us to go into a fat-burning state, a mild fat-burning state within 3 days, and then we progressively lose weight. And while we're losing weight, we're now building success, which creates self-efficacy, which puts people in position to now want to do more. Consistency over time is what installs new habits. So if we can install the habit of eating every 3 hours, and we can now kind of change your taste profile, where now you don't want those huge amounts of food and the high sugar and high salt. we find that people almost immediately that all their parameters in their health, as well as how they feel, their energy level and all those things improve literally within the first 3 or 4 days. So it's an exciting way. It's kind of like a jump start. And the other part is that the healthy feelings are great. You know, I travel a lot. I'm on planes. Rather than eat the horrific, full of sugar and refined flour that's in all those things you get on a plane, I have my feelings with me, and I feel my body, because we call them feelings for a reason. Your body needs fuel to operate in its most effective way. And what we want to do is make sure the stuff we're putting is high test fuel, not all this gobbledygook and garbage that most people unfortunately jump to when they're hungry.
Great. Dr. Way, we have 4 remaining questions in about 6 minutes, and I'm going to kind of give them to you rapid fire. But the first one was, how do we get and stay motivated?
Well, basically, you know, motivation needs to be from within. And so what we want to do, I think everybody, you know, there's $66 billion spent on diets, on dieting and diet foods. So people are motivated to do it. It's really more, do they have the daily understanding to be successful? And so on the day-to-day basis, what I'm looking for on the days when, you know, first of all, your overall motivation is that we want to help you get healthier. And by helping you get healthier and have higher well-being, you can do whatever's important to you, whatever matters most to you. Being here for your grandkids, being more productive at work, being able to do more sports, you know, whatever that means to you. We want to first start with that and find out what, you know, gets you ticking, what's important to you, and then put that together with a structural process that will then organize that properly. That beyond that, we also want to daily have you become progressively successful and consistently be doing the things that move you forward. By building in that consistency, that will keep you motivated. And also being surrounded with like-minded people, being in a place where we're talking about health. And by the way, paying it forward. You know, that's one of the key areas of helping us on this mission. We'll talk about that also in the next section, is about actually helping be part of our goal to create a healthy America and then eventually the world.
Great. The next one has to do with exercise, and there's a lot of exercise enthusiasts and fitness fanatics, and then there's everybody else. Talk a little bit about why exercise is not necessarily the best way to lose weight.
Yeah, well, it doesn't work well, because bottom line is a pound of fat is 3,500 calories. You would have to run a marathon. If you were 30 pounds overweight or a BMI of around 30, you'd have to run a marathon you burn 2,600 calories in a marathon. So you'd have to run a marathon basically every weekend for a year to lose that weight. The other thing, especially in women, we have what we call compensation. And when women exercise, they're even hungrier and they have a tendency to eat even more. So what we do is we address it from the calorie side to make sure our nutritional intake, that we lower the total calories, specifically make sure that you're using more slow carbs, the lower glycemic carbs, balanced protein and carbohydrate, and then portion control. So we now address that first. Now, exercising is an amazing thing for long-term weight control and for optimal health, but not great for weight loss. And so we kind of start with making sure we're getting rid of that fat around your middle and then progressing your exercise. So, you know, exercise is very important, just not in the methodology we use. And we found it to be, you know, 100 times more effective to start with the energy inside of the equation.
Yeah, being a former professional athlete, I realized that you awoke me to the idea of being active all throughout my day, that can actually be considered exercise, that it doesn't have to be in a formal fitness routine all the time. It can just be more moving throughout the day, which was a great awakening for me.
Yeah, that's right, David. And actually, when I wrote that in 2008, that was heresy. I said that you needed more than 3 hours a week of exercise. I said it's more important in non-exercise activity, what we call NEAT, in order to be active all day long in both your work and your leisure. And now studies over the last couple of years have validated that, how important that is. So sleep, obviously sleep is a key parameter. I have to say, if I had to pick my keystone habit for me personally, it's that I always make sure I get enough sleep. When I have enough sleep, I have resiliency. I make better choices in how I eat. I'm better in my relationships. I'm able to be more articulate. I'm able I do a lot of writing, as you know. I'm able to write clear. I get a lot more work done. And bottom line is, it's so key for the other things we've been talking about: how you eat, how heavy you are, and how much you move, they're all directly related to each other. You know, we have a great chapter in the Habits Health in 17 where we really dissect that. And I'm excited because moving forward in the next, in Habits Health 2.0, I'm going to go into that even in a lot cool ways to make that even work better. So yeah, sleep is critical.
Yeah, and you have a kind of a four cornerstone process of, you know, eating healthy, motion, sleep, and then the final one is support. So talk a little bit more about the value of support in creating what you call optimal health.
Yeah, support is key. You know, basically, we've always been, all the way back again, going 10,000 years ago, we were nomads. We worked together. We were very collective. Having that support, doing it together, creating that modeling off each other, being there to encourage each other, to listen to each other. Those things are so critical. And what I love about our health coaches, which we talked about earlier, they've been on the journey before our new clients and patients. And so they're ready to stand by to help guide you. What the cool thing is, we teach people to be self-instructionary. In other words, and even more so in 2.0, but it's all about helping equip them to be able to take care of themselves, but still be around like-minded people. We can't create optimal health for you, but we certainly can guide you and put you in a group of people that are on that same journey. So yeah, very excited about it. That's a critical part.
Yeah, what we'd like to challenge everyone right now, those of you that are watching this webinar, is we want you to think about who are the 5 people that you're spending the most time with on a day-to-day basis, and ask yourself the question, are those people healthier than me? Meaning, are they practicing a healthier lifestyle habits, or are they unhealthier than me? And Dr. A, you know, you talk a lot about support because there's such an influence in the power of association. Talk about how Discover Your Optimal Health Day is a great day for proclaiming your healthy goals and your desires to your friends and family members. You know, even if they're not ready to join you, great way to have a conversation with people about your health.
Yeah, no, that's why this is a very special day. As you said, we've done this for 5 years now, and I love it. It starts off in the morning with at the company. We do a walk with all our partners, all our inside partners, and I just love it, you know, and I always want to thank them, how appreciative we are for all their contributions. And that's what it's about. It's about doing it together and to reach out into your community. You know, the neat thing is if you haven't yet made a decision, or if you have, really key into your support system. National Optimal Health Day is a day for us to be able, it's not about Optavia, it's actually about awakening people to the potential. We don't care how they do it. There's many ways to skin a cat. We happen to think that the way we do it, and you know, I've spent personally almost 2 decades focused on asking the question, how do I help people change their life? How do I make that stick? How does it work long term? And I think we're pretty good at it, but we just want people to know you can do this. You can change your life. And all it takes is you to make that decision. And that's what this day is about, awakening people to the potential and knowing that you're surrounded by our coaches, our clients, our patients, our physicians, our healthcare providers, and all those together want to help you make a change. And I've never been more excited. And, you know, you asked me about vision earlier. I'd end with this vision. I truly believe that this movement now, as you said, it's now got legs. It's starting to move beyond where any place I even could dream of when I started it 17 years ago. And I'm very excited because this is the time for all of us together to ask ourselves the question, if we could choose optimal health, will we make that choice? And then we deliver that gift to the people we love? So thank you, David. God bless everybody.
Thank you, Dr. A. Well, thanks everybody for joining us and attending this special Habits of Health webinar, Q&A with Dr. A on National Optimal Health Day. We hope that you got the answers to the questions that you had in the back of your mind, and maybe you got some answers to questions that you didn't even know you had, but this was a great awakening opportunity for you. And if you would like to have more information about the Optavia Health Coaching Program, or you'd like to learn more about Dr. A's resources and books, it's a great opportunity to reach out to the person that invited you to this particular webinar and ask them for a copy of Dr. A's free 105-page ebook on creating optimal health. There's a great well-being evaluation that helps you to clarify where you're at, and it can help you to get started in where you're going. But we're so glad that you guys joined us for the Habits of Health webinar. Join us again next week and every week thereafter for the Habits of Health support webinar, because we want to continue to create America to be a healthier place and then the world. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight.
Good night.
The following audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.